So bright morning everyone, my name is Mary Hart Navarro and I will be the first presenter. So our topic is all about culture. So the introduction is culture refers to the way of life of people and show how individuals express themselves, the choices they make, how they interact with others, and how they work to achieve their goals. So sa dire, culture is the way of life sa mga tao. It show how people express themselves kag choices they make. So, kung paano po sila makipag-interact sa ibang nga tao. In short, ang tao or ang culture amo na ang ginakabuhian sa tao kag kung paano sila nagapangabuhi sang ilang nga pang-adlaw. Kumbaga may mga parts sa ilang mga pang-adlaw na ginahimo nga naka-base sa culture. So ang example sang sine sa among introduction is sa Pilipinas ba. May part sa aton nga culture na ang pagrespeto sa tigulang pinaagi sa paghambal sang po kag opo kag pag hatag or pag-bless sa mga tigulang pa sa aton. Amo na siya mga example sa sang pagrespeto. So next slide is we have two types of culture. The material culture and the non-material culture. So sa material culture is things that we can see and touch. So ang example sini is clothes we wear, buildings and infrastructures of objects and things create. So, makita nyo man guro sa kilid sa akon nga PPT nga may ara dila picture or example sa image na example sang clothes nga we wear, buildings and infrastructure and object and things people create. So, sa diri, ang material culture are things that we can see and touch. Amo ini ang mga butang nga ginahimo kag ginagamit sang tawo sa ila everyday life. These things show part sang culture sa isa ka society. So, other example is ang barong kag balot saya, mga bahay kubo, kag mga handcraft nga ginahimo sa Pilipino. Diba kita man ng mga tao na or makita nga Pilipino, though culture na natin nga maghimo or make sang isa ka thing or isa ka bagay nga pwede po natin magamit for everyday. Pwede taman mapagkitaan nga pwede tayo baligya sa ibang. So next is the non-material culture. So non-material culture is things that we cannot see or touch but are important in our society. So example sini beliefs is tradition and last practices. So makitaan nyo po na sa kilid sa akong PPT nga nakabutang dira ang image nila. So explanation sa diri is non-material culture are things that we cannot see or touch. Pero importante gid ni sa aton nga society. Kay man amo ini ang mga beliefs, tradition kag practices sa mga tawo nga naga-guide sa ila thinking kag behavior. So sa example sini is ang like pagmano sa tigulang, pag-celebrate sa piyesta kag pagtuo sa Ginoo. So, diba, kita manggid ga-celebrate manggid ta sang piyesta kay do may aratap do kumbaga parang Thanksgiving na siya tas gatuo ta sa Ginoo bisan why ta siya nakitaan kay tungod may ginapatihan ta nga tuod gid ang Ginoo nga gina-bless niya ta kag may aram siya ginahatag nga mga challenges sa ato pero ang challenges na makaya ta lang pod. So next is values, beliefs, and practices. So values. what people think is good and important. So sa diri, ang values amo na ang mga butang nga beg or big sang tawo nga importante kag maayo. So next is belief. What people think is true. Kag next, last is practices. How people usually do things in their daily lives. So, sa example sini is sa value is ang pagrespeto. Like ang managani pagples sa tigulang, paghambay sa po kag opo, kag pagpati man po sa mga ginahambay sa mga tigulang pa sa aton. Then sa belief naman niya is ang pamilya is importante. Ito gid nila pala nga ang pamilya is important. Then like pagsimba ng pag-pray kay God, kag pagpati kay God. Then naman sa practices siya is ang magtipon ang pamilya kung may mga special occasion. Like for example, may festa, birthday, or mapapagid kapag Christmas kay family day man gid na siya. So sa aton next slide is about naman niya sa norms. So norms are the rules and expectations in society. They guide how people should act, behave, and interact with others. So ang norms are the rules or expectation in our society. Amo ini ang mga guide sa aton kung paano kita mag-act kag mag-behave sa ibang nga tao para may kaayuhan kag respeto sa community. So, bale guide ni siya or maka-help sa aton ang norms para maging formal ta ba kag may respeto ang aton nga panggiho kag mga pang-interact ba sa other people kag do respect na lang pud sa aton nga community. So, for example, sini is ang paglinya sa pila. Like, dapat maglinya pa sa pila, dapat kung uli ka nag-abot, dapat sa last ka gid perma. Malinya, hindi nga kung ulihi ka na, tapos madas o ka pa, do ka disrespectful siya lang tabot. Then, pagrespeto sa teacher sa classroom, na kung may gaklase nga maestra, dapat kapamati taya na hindi ta maggahot, hindi ta magsabay sa ginawa ka sa maestra para pod mas maintindihan pod naton kung ano gusto i-deliver sa aton nga maestra. Then paghambal sang thank you kag please na isa pod na siya, number 1 gid na siya nga sign sa pagrespeto ba, kay dapat every nga may himuon, bisan wala himuon sa aton ng tabo, basta daw maka-feel ka lang bala appreciate or maka-feel ka bala nga naging maayo na sa imong tao, dapat mag-thank you ka kag maging thankful ka ba sa ila. Then dapat kapag may ara ka, like may papalihog ka or may mga need ka ipalihog sa ibang nga tao, dapat mahambal ka please or lihog amo na para do ka respectful man bala nang hindi siya hambal nga like ginasugo mo lang sa or like do ka basta hindi siya bala ka disrespectful. Yan. So our last slide is conclusion. In conclusion, culture plays an important role in our daily lives because it shows the way people live, think, and interact with others. It includes both material things like clothes and buildings, and non-material things such as belief, traditions, and values. Culture also guides our behavior through norms and practices. By understanding culture, we can better understand ourselves and the people around in our society. So, sa deriya is ang culture ko no is nang gakalakip siya sang material kag non-material nga mga bagay para sa clothes, buildings, beliefs, kag tradisyon. Through culture kuno mas maintindihan ta ang aton kagalingon kag ang iban nga mga tao sa society. So for example sini is kung maintindihan ta ang culture sang iban nga tao, mas madasig kita makarespeto ka makaintindi sa ilang ways of living. Kung bawa may tawo nga like sa other country, syempre may mo sila alain nga malaing ta nga culture. Kung sa ato pa lang nga culture is naintindihan ta na nga amon ni mga culture ta, may ginapatihan ta. So sa ila do mag-gets nyo na lang po, do maintindihan nyo na lang po, do may arap pa sila lain nga ginapatihan. Then in that way may ka mo nga na maka-adapt pud sa ilang nga culture. Kaya tungod, mas dasig balan ninyo maintindihan. Kaya dili pa lang sa aton is ginaintindihan nyo ng aton yung culture. So may possible nga kung manakalabot ka mo sa other nga country, maintindihan kung ma-adapt nyo lang po ang ilang nga culture. So again, my name is Mary Hart Navarro from BSCM to 2A, the first presenter and the leader of this group. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Erlvin Mahulom and I'm about to report to you my assigned topic where it is all about culture. So first is we humans are carriers of culture. We learn culture from our home and our communities through the direct instruction from our parents. Through observation and participation, communities appear. Culture socialization as we say it. So, this means that culture is not inherited genetically, but learned, passed down, and maintained through social interaction. Human acts carries by internalization norms, values, and tradition from family and community through direct teaching, observation, and active participation, ensuring culture continues across generations. So next is when we later on go out when interacting other people or groups, we experience a different culture, or as we known as culture exchange. This means that as people move beyond their family social circle and engage with different communities, they encounter new tradition, values, and behavior. This interaction or culture exchange facilitates multiple learning, breaks down in stereotypes, foster empathy and understanding, allowing individuals to appreciate diverse perspective. What can you see for us to interpret other culture using our own frame of mind and negotiate with aspects of culture aligned with ours? It describes ethnocentrism, the natural own subconscious tendency to judge or interpret other culture using standards, values, and frame of mind of one's own culture. It involves comparing foreign tradition to one's own, accepting only one that align with resemble one's own culture or social moral norms. For some, they adopt the certain values and practices of new culture, acculturalization as we say, to a lesser degree, such as we may tend to adopt the new culture only when we are in public, accommodation, or in larger degree, such as we begin to resemble the people in other groups, or assimilation. So the same process tends to experience by the other people we come to interact with. So that will be all, and thank you.
Great day everyone, my name is Kayla Lamberto. So now I will be discussing and reporting about the globalization and the culture. Globalization facilitates sharing of ideas, attitudes, and values across national borders due to increased contact between people and their cultures, their ideas, values, ways of life, as observed in the globalizations of lifestyles, knowledge, and technologies. Cultural flows is a term often used to refer to these dynamics of culture in the age of globalization. Globalization is the process where countries around the world become more connected because of technology, travel, trade, and the internet. People from the different countries can communicate and share ideas more easily. When globalization happens, culture also spreads. Culture includes people's beliefs, traditions, language, food, clothing, music, and ways of living. Because people from different cultures interact more often, they change ideas, attitudes, and values. One of the example is Western fashion influences clothing styles in many countries. So this movement and exchange of cultural ideas is good culture flows, and it shows how culture spreads and changes as people interact globally. Cultural flows can be viewed in different ways. One way to look at it is to recognize that cultures are inherently and strongly unique from one another and are not significantly affected by input from other cultures in the process of globalization or cultural differentialism. So this view suggests that there are barriers which shield cultures from being penetrated by external inputs. An example would be religious convictions and ideologies shared by members of particular society. So, when we say cultural differentialism is the idea that cultures remain unique and different from each other even in a globalized world. This view believes that some barriers protect cultures from outside influence, and these barriers helps maintain traditions and beliefs. One of the example is some communities continue to follow traditional clothing, costumes, or religious practices despite globalization. In short, cultural differentialism says that cultures stay different and resist outside influence. Another view is to look at global flows as a creative process which yields combinations of global and local cultures when external inputs interact with internal inputs, or the cultural hybridization. So, when we say cultural hybridization happens when global culture and local culture mix together to create something new. Instead of cultures staying completely separate, they combine and influence each other, and it creates new traditions, styles, and practices. And one of the example is a Filipino fast food serving spaghetti with a sweet taste influenced by a Western cuisine, and in this process, people adopt foreign ideas and blend them with their own culture.
Good day everyone, my name is Suzette Geronimo. Today I will be discussing a padarized concept of scapes. This concept explains how globalization affects the movement of people, technology, ideas, media, and money across the world. This idea was introduced by the anthropologist Arjun Appadurai. According to him, globalization is not only about being connected economically, but also about how different cultural elements move and interact across nations. In this presentation, I will discuss the five scapes. These are ethnoscape, mediascape, technoscape, financescape, and eduscape. I will also talk about the concept such as globalization, cultural convergence, cultural imperialism, and deterritorialization.
The first concept is ethnoscape. Ethnoscape refers to the global movement of people. So, ang ethnoscape is ga-focus siya kung paano ga-move ang mga tao from one place to another around the world. So, because of globalization, mas dasig subong sa mga tao mag-travel, mag-migrate, or mag-work in other countries. For example, many OFWs or overseas Filipino workers work in different parts of the world, such as the Middle East, the United States, or Europe. So because of this movement, ang culture nag-mix and na-learn sang mga tao ang bagong tradisyon kag practices in other countries. So, ang ethnoscape is kapakita siya nga one of the main reasons culture spread and interact globally. For example, if may may kilala ka nga someone in your family nga ga-obra abroad that is already example of an ethnoscape. The second concept is mediascape. Mediascape is about the flow of culture. So, ang mediascape is ga-refer siya kung paano ang media kag ang technology ga-spread information, images, and culture around the world. So, ang mga example nga mga platform diri is YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google. So, through this platform is we can easily see the lifestyle, tradition, and entertainment from other countries. For example, many Filipinos watch K-dramas, Korean music video, or international movies online. So because of media, we become familiar with other cultures even wala ta dira nag-travel nga lugar o wala ta dira nagkadto nga lugar. So ang mediascape helps spread ideas, trends, and cultural influences globally. The third concept is technoscape. Technoscape refers to the circulation of mechanical goods and software. So, ang technoscape is ga-focus siya sa movement kag sa development of technology around the world. So, example includes software program, new smartphone, and computers that is designed in one country but used in many other countries. For instance, many smartphones we use today are designed and manufactured in different countries but are sold worldwide. So, because of technoscape, ang technology nag-spread siya dasig kag nakatabang siya sa mga tao to connect globally. This is why today we can easily communicate, study, and work using modern technology.
So the fourth concept is financescape. Financescape donates the circulation of money. So ang financescape naman is ga-refer siya kung paano ang kwarta kag ang financial resources ga-move across countries. Example diri is ang global institutions such as the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, which provide financial assistance and influence economic activities around the world. So, isa naman ka-example is ang remittances from OFW. When workers abroad, mag-send sila kwarta back to their families in the Philippines, that is also part of the global flow of money. So, financescapes shows how global economies are interconnected through financial assistance. The fifth concept is eduescape. Eduescape is where the political ideas move around. So, ang eduescape is ga-refer siya to the spread of political ideas, belief, and ideologies across countries. Examples include ideas like federalism, communism, and socialism. Ang ari ng mga political ideas can influence kung paano ang government mag-operates and paano ang society mag-organize sa ilang political system. So, through communication, education, and media, these ideas spread from one country to another and can shape political discussion worldwide. Another important concept related to globalization is glocalization. Glocalization happens when global ideas, products, or cultural elements combine with local traditions and practices. Instead of cultures clashing or competing with each other, they often blend together and create something new and unique. In other words, global influences are adapted to fit the local culture and preferences of people in a specific place.
Because of this, local culture is not completely replaced by global culture. Instead, the two cultures interact and influence each other. For example, international companies often adjust their products depending on the country where they operate. They may change their menu, marketing strategies, or product design so that it matches the culture and tastes of the local people. And the Philippines, many international fast food chains offer meals that suit Filipino tastes, such as rice meals or sweeter style spaghetti. This shows how global businesses adapt their products to local culture. This process is an example of localization where global and local elements combine to create something unique. Another perspective on globalization is called cultural convergence. Cultural convergence refers to the process in which cultures from different countries gradually become more similar or uniform over time. This happens because people around the world are exposed to the same media, technology, entertainment, and information. Through the internet, social media, movies, music, and television, people from different countries begin to share similar interests, lifestyles, and cultural practices. For example, many people around the world use the same social media platforms, listen to the same international music, and follow similar fashion trends. So, because of these shared experiences, cultures may begin to look more alike. So in the Philippines, many young people follow global fashion trends, watch international movies, and participate in popular social media challenges. So, this shows how globalization can lead to cultural similarities across different countries, which is what we call cultural convergence. There are also related concepts connected to cultural convergence. One of these is cultural imperialism. Cultural imperialism refers to a situation where cultures consciously impose themselves on other cultures. This means that the culture of a powerful country can strongly influence or dominate the culture of other country. This influence usually spreads through media, entertainment, technology, language, and economic power. So because of power, countries produce a large amount of global media such as movies, television shows, music, and online content. Their culture become widely seen and sometimes adapted by people in other countries. Because of this strong influence, local cultures may sometimes be reduced or overshadowed as people begin to follow foreign lifestyle, fashion, trends, food preferences, and entertainment. For example, Hollywood movies, Western music, and international fast food chains are very popular in many countries around the world. This cultural product can influence how people think, dress, eat, and even how they spend their leisure time. Another concept is deterritorialization. Deterritorialization refers to the idea that culture is no longer tied to a specific geographical place. In the past, culture was usually closely connected to a particular location or community. However, because of globalization, technology, migration, and global communication, cultural practices and tradition can now spread beyond their original location. Today, through the internet, media, travel, and social media, people can easily experience and adapt cultures from different parts of the world. Because of this, culture becomes more global and less restricted to one specific country or region.
Example of deterritorialization is the popularity of Korean culture in the Philippines, such as K-dramas, K-pop music, Korean fashion, and Korean food. Even though these cultural products come from South Korea, many Filipinos enjoy them and incorporate them into their daily lives. So this shows how cultures can spread across different countries and become part of other societies, even if it did not originally come from that place.
So, okay, bright morning everyone, especially Miss. So, I'll be discussing about the media culture. So, okay. Media is an important part of modern society. It is used as as a means of conveying information and a channel of communication between people. So, according to Luke Loley in 2014, media is easier to define than globalization because it simplifies refers to how messages and information are delivered to others. So, Luke, Luke explained that the connection between media and globalization developed through five eras of communication, which is oral communication, script, printing press, electronic media, digital media. So, okay, let's tackle about these five eras of communication. So, first is oral communication. So, this is the earliest form of communication where people share information by speaking or storytelling. So, for example, is mga elders is guys storytelling sila or community announcement or traditional storytelling. So the second one is script. So people started writing symbols and letters to record information and messages. Example is mga ancient writing or letters and handwritten manuscript. So number three is printing press. So the innovation of printing press allowed information to be printed and distributed to many people. For example, is newspapers, books, magazines, and pamphlets. So the fourth is electronic media. So communication became faster with the use of electronic technology. For example, is radio, televisions, and telephone. So the last one is digital media. So this is the modern era where communication happens through internet and digital devices. So example is social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat. So, so media culture. So, according to Nick Stevenson in 2002, in his book Understanding Media Cultures, so social theory and mass communication, the term media cultures is used because modern culture is strongly connected to mass media. So according to Nick Stevenson, media and culture are closely connected. So mga to ganina, no? So the first is modern culture is transmitted through mass communication. So this means people learn culture through media. For example, is fashion trends, music, and news spreading through TV and social media. The second one is media should be understood within the cultural context. So, media reflects the values and beliefs of society. For example is movies or TV show nga ga-show traditional and traditional lifestyle and social issue. So the third one is there are intellectual exchange between media and culture. So media culture influence each other or over time. So for example is social media influencing language and memes and eh, youth culture. So media plays a major role in shaping culture and communication in modern society, from oral communication to digital media. The development of media has helped people connect, share information, and understand the world more easily.
Everyone, I'm the next reporter. By the way, my name is Marlene Ronico. Explaining the media and Filipinos. Media and Filipino are also non-consumer of various forms of media. In a 2016 study, it was found that while there was a decline in consumption of newspaper, approximately 96% of Filipinos watch television, so devoting almost 4 hours in watching the favorite show. The same survey observed increasing consumption of digital media due to the internet accessibility. So, I think na ang Pilipino ay no lagi siya na active sa consumer of different forms of media. So, according yan is a 2016 study, even though fewer people reads a newspaper, but 96% of Filipino still watch of television. So, many people ang spend of their time as watching TV. At the same time, the use of digital media is also increased because the internet now is more accessible. So many people are spending time by using their phone or social media. Especially na sa Gen Z karon na halos nilang ga-spend of time sa ilang mga phones sa mga social media sa TV, like parang wala na nila kayo na manage ilahang time or wala na nila na balance ilang paggamit sa phone or sa mga social media. 2019 study, it was revealed that Filipino are the world top user of social media spending. A little more than 10 hours online daily. The world average online is 6 hours and 42 minutes. So it means sa 2019 study, it was revealed that ang Pilipino pinakadaghag or top user of social media in the world. The average Filipinos spend more than 10 hours online every day. So which is higher na siya sa global average of 6 hours and 42 minutes. So it means na sobraan na gid yung paggamit sa Pilipinas sila social media. So nalapaw na siya sa average of a global average of 6 hours and 42 minutes. So nasobraan na yun. So as well as internet use in front of computer, spending a little more than 5 hours daily. The world average internet usage is 3 hours and 28 minutes. Aside from that, ang Filipino are also a lot of time using their computers with more than 5 hours daily use. So compared sa ang average dapat lang 3 hours and 28 minutes, but naabot na sila 5 hours daily. So sobra dito siya. Okay naman na sobra, pero dapat na balance ang time kung paano gamitin ang social media, kung paano gamitin. So dapat hindi natin mag-plan ano study kung paano natin mo ma-spend ang the rest of the day na time sa social media. That's it. Thank you.
Right, morning everyone. My name is Kent Knight Labrador and I'm continuing the discussion about media culture. So, data have shown that in recent years, the digital media has become a phenomenon with the prevalent use of social network platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, among others. In 2018, Pew Research Center revealed that 95% of adolescents have smartphones access, and almost half of these adolescents are almost constantly online. The same study reveals that among the social network platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat are highly consumed. The youth interviewed in the study revealed that they use social media for various reasons. Example, communicating and connecting with friends, accessing information, entertainment, and self-expression, to name a few. So, because of the popularity of platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube, many teenagers spend a lot of time online. A study conducted by the Pew Research Center in 2018 found that 95% of adolescents have access to smartphones, which makes it easy for them to connect to the internet anytime and anywhere. Because of this, almost half of them are online almost all the time. So, also shows that the young people mostly use platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat more than others. Teenagers use social media for many reasons, such as communicating with friends, staying connected with others, finding information, enjoying entertainment, expressing their thoughts and feelings. That's all. Thank you.
Filipino cinema acts as social classroom where the youth learn values, language, and identity, making it a powerful tool for national evolution despite economic challenges. Mediatization is no longer just a tool we use, but an environment that constantly reshapes how young Filipinos think and act. Media acts as a digital sandbox where Filipino youth use global subcultures to explore identities beyond traditional local expectations. Filipino youth have shifted from being passive viewers to active prosumers who blend their shopping and entertainment habits with digital activism and content creation. For example, instead of just hanging out at mall, now use Twitter and TikTok to launch massive viral campaigns that can save a canceled TV show or turn a local film. For conclusion, Philippine cinema serve as primary cultural compass for the youth, guiding their personal identity and social integration despite the industry's economic struggles.
So once again, bright morning everyone. My name is James Medalla and today I will be discussing the issues in media cultures. So in the age of globalization, there are a few issues to address, just like access, production and consumption, inclusion and participation, and cultural integrity. So first is access. One may ask, who has access to media? It is something that everyone who needs it can get hold of it, or are there only few groups of people who has access to it because of a certain socio-economic advantage? If they can have access, what is the quality of access they have? Can they access it easily, or do they encounter difficulties that others typically do not? And if they don't have access, what is the state doing to level off this concern on access, and what is their power to change the situation? So ang access is nagapamangkot kung sino ang may tsansa nga makagamit o kung maka-access sa media. So mga pamangkot nga nagapaminsar, tanan bala nga tao maka-access sa media, o kung bala may pila lamang ka grupo nga may access ini. Ano ang kalidad sa ila access? Kung may mga problema bala sila nga paggamit sini. So sa realidad, hindi tanan nga tao pareho ang access sa media. For example, ang mga tao sa syudad may dali ng internet kag teknolohiya. Ang mga tao sa layo nga baryo kisa mahina ang signal o kung wala gid internet. Mangara man sang socio-economic factors ini nga nagakahulugan nga kung sino mas may kwarta ang isa ka pamilya, mas dali sila makabakal sa cellphone, laptop, and or internet connection. Pero kung kulang ang kwarta, budlay maka-access sa media. Just like for example, kung isa ka estudyante nga kinahanglan mag-search online pero wala internet sa ila balay, hindi sila kaobra pareho sang iban nga estudyante nga may wifi. Amo na ang isa ka halimbawa sa inequality. And second is production and consumption. When we ask what media contents are made available for consumption, who decide what to produce and not to produce, what cultures are being conveyed in the media content, who controls what to convey and how, identity and consumption of media are interlinked, you are what you consume. So ang production and consumption is ang production is ang gapabuhat sa media content, kag ang consumption amo na ang paglantaw, pagbasa kag pagpamati. So ano nga klase sa social media ang ginapabutang sa publiko? Sino nagdesisyon kung ano ang himuon nga programa kag ano nga kultura ang ginapakita sa media? Sino ang nagakontrol sa impormasyon? So ang mga media companies amo na ang kasagaran nagadesisyon kung ano ang ipagwa sa TV, ibutang sa social media, and kung ano ang ipagwa sa balita. Tungod sini sila may dako nga impluwensya sa kung ano ang ginatanaw kag ginatuuhan sang mga tawo. So may ano nga you are what you consume. So ang buot silingon is kung ano pirmi ang imo ginatanaw kung pagka ginabasa sa media, mahimo ini maapekto sa imo panumduman, batasan kag sa imo values. For example, kung pirmi ka nagatanaw educational videos, mas madamo ka matun-an kag kung pirmi ka makatanaw sang fake news o kung negative content, mahimo nga maapektuhan sa imo panumduman kag desisyon.
Bright morning, Miss. I am Rati Morera and I will discuss about inclusion and participation. Inclusion and participation in media mean that all kinds of people are represented fairly and given a voice in media platforms such as television, movies, news, and social media. Inclusion and participation. Media plays an important role in shaping how people see others in society. It is important to ask whether the portrayals in media are empowering or diminishing. Empowering portrayals show people as capable, strong, and respected, while diminishing portrayals may stereotype or disrespect certain groups. Cultural integrity. Cultural integrity refers to how media represents and influences the tradition, beliefs, and identity of a particular culture or community. Cultural integrity. Media has a strong influence on how culture is seen and understood. It can shape the way people perceive their local traditions, customs, and values. Because of this influence, it is important that media represent culture accurately and respectfully. That's all, Miss. Thank you.
In conclusion, culture, globalization, and media are deeply connected in shaping modern society. Through globalization and digital media, people from different cultures can interact, share ideas, and influence one another. While this creates opportunities for cultural exchange and learning, it also brings challenges such as cultural domination, unequal access to media, and changes in local traditions. Therefore, it is important for individuals and societies to use media responsibility while preserving their cultural identity and promoting inclusive and balanced cultural representation. So, it says that cultural globalization and media are closely related because of globalization and digital media from different parts of the world can easily communicate, share ideas, and learn about each other's cultures through platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This interaction helps people understand other cultures and promotes cultural exchange. However, globalization and media can bring some challenges. For example, powerful cultures may dominate others. Some communities may not have equal access to media, and local traditions may change or slowly disappear because of global influences. And this emphasizes that people and society should use media responsibly. While enjoying global connections, they should also protect their own cultural identity and make sure that different cultures are represented fairly and respectful. That's all. Thank you.
I just had to let you know you're